before we come to you, I want to go across the town and go to the city center here today. We, of course, have been live at the city center to try and bring for you a picture of just what it looks like. Of course, no running battles there, but businesses had indeed sort of closed down to be able to give an opportunity for employees and others to be able to attend to the events that have been happening today. You do remember that it had been gazetted as a national holiday. Well, our very own George Maringa is live for us at the CBD, ready to bring us up to speed on what exactly is happening there. Well, George, it must be very quiet in town today. What do you have to say to us?
Good afternoon, Wakaba. Yes, as you rightly put it, I am in the CBD, just at the junction between Kenyatta Avenue and Wabera Street. And you have rightly put it, today was sort of a dry day, a silent day here in the CBD. We didn't have much of shops opening or businesses opening. There was no traffic in the morning hours, until about 30 or 40 minutes ago. Actually, Wakaba, traffic has started flowing back into the city. We could when we were making our way here, we could spot, traffic at the Uhuru Highway and Kenyatta Avenue Junction, roundabout rather. And as Willis, my colleague, is showing you around, these pictures, businesses closed, just a few people around the city moving upwards Kenyatta Avenue. Most businesses remain closed, most shops remain closed. And I managed to interact with a few people earlier, and they told me that one of the reasons the businesses remained closed is because today was gazetted as a public holiday, one. And two, majority of them actually wanted to attend the inauguration ceremony at Kasarani. And actually, number three is that most of them actually stayed, out of the city to just in lieu of security, or rather fearing that there would be any skirmishes witnessed in the city. So Wakaba, in the morning, this has been quite a slow city, quite a slow town, not much of businesses opening, but right now we are experiencing traffic flowing into the city, and we are hoping maybe by evening, probably, Kenyans are entrepreneurial, maybe they will be opening the shops later in the evening. Wakaba.
Well, George, you are a young Kenyan, fresh out of college, hard at work. The president has spoken a lot into the youth conversation. What exactly do you want to see when it comes to, taking this country forward in terms of working for the youth? What exactly do you think the president and the government itself can do to be able to speak to the youth and, empower them in a way that enables them start to say they are a part of this country?
Yes, Wakaba, the Kenyan youth, rather those who are stepping out from school, would like to, have maybe to start their own businesses, or rather get into employment. And probably maybe what the government needs to do is to tap into the universities and check the entrepreneurial students. I will give an example. I had colleagues back in college who used to own several businesses, M-Pesa shops, cyber cafes. Actually, some used to even vend fruits around campus. So maybe what the government needs to do, in my view, is to tap into the young sector, into the vibrant economy, and sort of utilize their potentials, their skills, because they are tech-savvy, Wakaba, to be honest. And Kenyans really want to utilize these opportunities, especially now that the government has announced, trade and no visas for Africans. Probably Kenyans, as you know them, and the young people, as you know them, would like to venture further into Africa and interact with each other. So basically, what the government needs to do, Wakaba, is to really invest and tap into the young sector and to sort of exploit their potential, Wakaba.
George, one of the highlights of the president's speech, just before I let you go, is the fact that he plans to put in place policies that will enable 500,000 houses to be built in the near term. Do you own a house? Would you like to own a house as a young man? And what do you think of the issue of the very high rents here in Nairobi?
Of course, Wakaba, as a young person, as a person who wants to, grow economically, I'd love to own a house, to build my own house, of course, either around town or wherever. And the challenge remains is that the cost of housing and the bills are still high for Kenyans, for young people like myself. You can imagine how the other young people are feeling, especially those who are stepping out of college, those who would like to begin a new life. And Wakaba, basically, I would really think that I would really suggest to the government, rather, even as they tap or they look into subsidizing the products, is they need to sort of balance between the workforce and the available commodities in the country, and maybe also invest in building apartments or living houses or settlement areas out of town, because the city, to be honest, is congested, and part of that would be to move people out of the city so that they can also establish businesses and rather businesses outside the city, and thus the economy and the city and the country would grow. Wakaba.
Well, indeed.